All right, so this is $20 million referrals, helping you be the agent that everyone loves to hire and refer in September. That's what we're focused on today. I'm Dave Velkamp. Happy to have you all on and looking forward to today's meeting. Wanted to just start with this, see if any of you, if real estate is causing you to feel any of these feelings lately with all the industry changes that are coming. And I just wanted to give you a word of encouragement and reassurance that even with all the changes, and the industry's gone through a lot of changes before, we always find a new normal, and we will find that again, even in this situation. So just hold tight, keep on doing the right things, and just for being here and investing in your business is a great sign that you are doing the right things to make it through all of these changes. So keep up the great work on that. And if you're not getting what you need to help through these changes, feel free to reach out. Happy to help with that as well. So today, here's what we're going to go through. We're going to talk about an agent story, and it's actually going to be learning through the failure of this agent situation. We're going to go through the monthly resources and reminders for what you got available to you in September. We'll take a look at our next installment at the True Pro office observations. We know that success leaves clues, and we want to take a look at those and replicate what we see successful agents doing out there. We're going to take a look at 3 trust building tools. We're looking at kind of a series of what happens in the mind to build trust and how to help you do that with your sphere of influence. We'll hit some tailgate touches and a few other things. So with that, let's go ahead and jump in to our agent story and learning from this agent's failure. So this story I just learned about yesterday, and it just fit perfectly, so I wanted to work it in today. It actually was from a client's perspective. They're the ones that told me about it, and it's for an agent that's not in our market, not somebody I even know. I don't even know the agent's name, but I thought it was super insightful for all of us. So the client had bought a home in 2019, said their buyer's agent was phenomenal, literally turned over every stone, did everything they possibly could to find this person the right home, and ultimately did. Tragically, this client, their house burned down. They had a house fire and they had to rebuild it completely in 2023. They had good insurance and everything, so it was like an absolutely brand new, beautiful home. And the time came to sell. So bought in 2019, time came to sell just recently after they just renovated and rebuilt it all last year. This client is a busy professional. She travels weekly for work, has 5 kids, so extremely busy. This was a $500,000 plus home. And remember now, she loved her buyer's agent, thought this buyer's agent went above and beyond for her. Could not remember her buyer's agent's name when it was time to sell. So, and you answer in the chat, or you can just let me know, did she try to find that agent's name? Yes or no? So Michael said yes, Brian said no. And the answer is no. Brian's right on this one. What she did instead is she asked her parents. She couldn't remember her agent's name, so she asked her parents, who's their agent? It was easier for her to do that. And being a busy person, she was looking for the easiest route. So she used her parents' real estate agent. It sold in the first weekend. She had 16 offers, and that agent, that buyer's agent who put in so much time, energy, and effort, missed out on over a $500,000 sale simply because this past client could not remember their name and did not have their contact information. It was just too difficult for her with everything else that she had going on in life to try to think about how am I going to go and find this person again. So she went with the easiest route. So what can we learn from this? I put together a couple of things that I think are important. And number one, make it easy for them, and in parentheses, and you too. So question here, go ahead and throw it in the chat if you have a guess. What percentage of agents never contact their client after close? Hint, I've shared some of these things recently. And there might be a gift for or a surprise for those who do get this right. About 50% said Michael. Let's see if there's any other guesses. 70% from John. And 60% from Brian. Let's take a look and see who got the closest here. So actually, statistics are showing from all of these interviews with past clients that 91% of agents never contact their client after close. That means you can be in the top 9% of all agents out there if you just talk with your clients after close. So I'll give you another chance here. Blank percent of consumers report that they cannot remember their real estate agent's name after just 12 months. Any guesses on that one? Ooh, Brian nailed it right out of the gate. Well done. That's actually 70%. Yes. And so it makes a lot of sense exactly why this particular client, they were in the same boat, could not remember their agent's name. So here's the situation. We lose customers if we force our audience to burn too many mental calories to remember and refer us. So we need to make it as easy as possible for them, because our brains, they are searching for the easiest route to achieve what we want. And as soon as we put any sort of roadblock in there, it looks for another way to achieve it. And the thing that's shocking about this is this agent, they didn't have to overcomplicate it. If there just would have been a few emails in this client's inbox with her name and contact information, this agent just had to be visible. And sometimes I think we overcomplicate it, thinking we really need to make sure that before we contact them or talk to them that it's something super special or original. But no, this client, all they wanted was their name and their phone number, and they just didn't have it available to them at that moment, so they went with somebody else. All right, and then the lesson number 2 to put in here, and I know some of you already answered this question, so has someone in your sphere of influence ever bought or sold real estate without you? If yes, put a Y in the chat. And the reason being, I bring this up, is this agent who missed out on this business may not even know. Like, we've all experienced sometimes somebody selling from our sphere or buying from our sphere, and then we learn about it. But in this instance, this person doesn't even know that this past client sold with somebody else unless they happen to come across that information. So we are missing out on more business than what we realize. In fact, some statistics say anywhere from 50 to 70%. We're missing 50 to 70% of the business in our sphere of influence. So if you want to do a quick calculation on that and say, hey, maybe it's somewhere in between just 60% of the business in your sphere, take your sales volume for the last 12 months from your sphere of influence, multiply it by 1.5, and that's the business that you could be missing if you're missing that amount from your sphere. Those numbers will shock you. All right, so one thing that we highly recommend to do this is to create what we call a real ABS, or a real agent brand story. And what that is in our minds is what people say about you when you're not around. Make it easy, make it simple to remember, and make sure that it shows them what you do for them to help them succeed. And that becomes your consistent marketing message with your sphere of influence. Now, this is all part of kind of what our 3-part program to help agents, be the one that everyone loves to hire and refer. This is positioning yourself as that go-to real estate agent using your real ABS. And the good news is people will say what you tell them to. They want to talk about you in the way that you would like them to. If you just tell them what to say, that's where they struggle. They don't know what to say. So now we'll go through numbers 2 and 3 on a special event where we go through a whole guidebook to help take you through each one of these processes on September 25. We'll do that at noon. It'll be a little bit longer meeting. It's a special date. So I just want to announce that all to you guys, and we'll be starting to talk about that more and more coming up. All right. Thank you for all those comments in the chat. Super helpful. All right, we're rolling forward from the story. I hope that was helpful and just gave you a sense of, hey, it doesn't have to be as hard as we may think it needs to be. Visibility is the key. Now, hard work turns dreams into reality, and consistency makes them last. I love this quote, and that's exactly what we're doing with the $20 million referral program, is putting a process to it so that you have activities for every single month so that you're consistently staying in front of people. A couple of my favorites for September, the sprinkler winterization and the furnace tune-up discount. I know Brian, who's on the call, he did a great AC tune-up to his sphere at the beginning of the summer. He can use the same company, most likely, for a furnace tune-up. So great ways to, again, help out your sphere, show you're thinking about them and care for them and get your name visible to them. Also, the sold in your neighborhood, I even recommend the automated way that we showed to do this a few months back. Get that going, and that's going to be huge for making sure that you're staying in front of those clients going forward. So you can see all of these and all of the activities and all the resources can be downloaded at 20mreferrals.com. So go there, go to the September month under your membership page and get all of the resources available to you. It's also the last month of the quarter. So if you haven't gotten your event in, or maybe your pop-by gift, time to do that. Or it's time to start thinking about what your event or your pop-by gift is for the fourth quarter. All right. And then we've shown this each month, just key days to keep in mind, maybe things you want to remind people of, posts you want to make on social media. If you want to pair up some of your gifts or your events with specific days that are out there that are special to the month. So obviously we have Labor Day. We got the Day of Service and Remembrance for 9/11. First day of fall happens in September. If you have daughters, there's National Daughter Day. College, high school, NFL football and tailgating returns. So maybe it's some gifts around that to have some fun. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. There's all sorts of different days, and you can find more if you go to nationaldaycalendar.com. Take a look at September. The URL's down there, and for each and every month. Really just a fun way to play off things that are already happening and people might already be aware of. All right, Top Pro Office Observations. This is our third installment of this. If you missed the last two, check out the last 2 months' presentations. And we know success leaves clues, and that's what we're tapping into here. And these are real photos from top agent offices, so audio and visual tools. There are no secret agents here. They are creating materials and sharing them out there. They have cameras, microphones, lights, green screens, all of these things at the ready in their office. So 3 key things to point out. Video communicates emotions. Fonts do not. People like to see your face, see what you're saying, and they resonate with that. In fact, so much so that viewers feel like they know you from watching that video, and that's one of that first steps to trust. So getting that video out there can be super helpful with that first step to building trust. And if you're not sure what to say, grab that QR code or go to the URL down there, 20millionreferrals.com/sellers thinking. And it gives you all sorts of questions that sellers might be thinking. And we know with all the changes in the market, and as always, you list to last. So really focused on getting those listings is huge. But record answers to some of those questions and put those out there as a resource to help those potential future clients, or maybe even those people within your sphere, to know more about the process. And those are videos that you can even share as you start engaging with some clients to say, hey, here's a helpful video to ... And as always, with video, remember that the goal is connection, not perfection. It's just like we talked about with that agent story. Don't overcomplicate it. It does not have to be perfect. Don't spend 6 hours trying to do your first video like I did, because it's not worth it. Just get the information out there and be helpful and connect with your sphere. All right, and again, just a reminder, the reason why we're looking at all of these office observation is to help you design your environment to make good habits obvious and visible. And that again comes from James Clear of Atomic Habits. Okay, we are wrapping up here because we're getting close to the end. Just got a couple more things to cover, and I can stick around and answer any questions that those of you have once we finish up. All right, so we've been talking about brain chemistry and shifting our focus to building bonds and trust by leveraging what's naturally going on. And so the next step in that phase is to talk about some practical tools, where we've talked about how important it is for our sphere to be seen, and then also to be heard and understood to really start developing that trust. Because without that trust there, even if we talk about all the value we provide, how can they necessarily know or believe that we can deliver on that without that trust being established? And we know it makes all of those difficult conversations we have to have along the way that much easier. So 3 practical tools for you to try. AWE. This is just simply when you're asking open-ended questions to allow your clients to talk through what's going through their mind, and even just asking them what's on your mind. And we have a list of potential questions there that are open-ended that you can download. That'll be available after this meeting. But then ask, and what else? That's AWE, and what else? Just allow them to go further. You may even ask this a couple of times in the conversation to really try to get to the root of what's going on or what's on their mind with the transaction that's facing them. The second is listening to label. And when you're listening to them talk, when you respond, make sure you're labeling the emotion or concern that you think you're hearing, to help confirm that you heard and understood them correctly, or that you're hearing them and understood them correctly. So for example, in this situation, I may say, so if I'm hearing you correctly, you are fearful that we may not get X price for your home on the market. So the emotion is fearful. Maybe I'm right or wrong, but don't worry if you're right or wrong on the label, because people will love to correct you and it'll just give you more information about what they're really thinking. And then mirroring, the last tool. This is simply just when you're listening and you need a little more info, simply repeat the last word that they may have said as a question. So client says, hey, Julie, we really need to sell our home quickly. You would simply respond, quickly? And they say, yes, we need to sell in the next 30 days. That gives you that additional information, and you repeating that word shows them that, hey, Julie was really listening in this situation. So try those 3 simple tools to help people feel heard going forward. All right, last couple of things here. I mentioned already that football season is back, so maybe you want to leverage that, since it does affect all sorts of people's lives, in terms of whether it's some tailgate pop-bys, maybe you're hosting a tailgate or a watch party for certain groups or alumni that you know are in your sphere. Maybe you support a local athletic program in some way, or if you're into it, you can join, or sponsor a fantasy football league, a great way to stay in contact with people on a regular basis throughout the fall and have a little fun too. All right. Answer in the chat. So what % of annual sales are closed by the end of August? Anybody got any guesses there? 67%. Yeah, Michael, you nailed it right on the first guess. I'm gonna have some special things for Michael and for Brian for all their good guesses throughout this time. Yes, it's 66%, so 67, close enough. Annual sales closed by the end of August, so you can check if you're on target simply by taking what you have sold so far, or by the end of the month, divide it by 0.66, and that'll give you an estimate of the pace that you're on and see how that matches up with your goal for the year. All right, so that gives us everything that we wanted to share for September. We hope that you found some things useful and helpful in that. One thing that really helps solidify things in your mind, helps you remember things other than just hearing them, for me, is to take some time right now and think about the meeting as a whole. That'll help some of those things really to take hold in your brain, and write down what was the most useful thing for you that was covered in today's meeting. You can share that with me if you like. You can just write that down on your own, but that will really start to help your subconscious mind start to process this more and really start to think about ways that you could start to integrate and ingrain some of this into your business. So highly encourage you to go ahead and do that. And then, as always, if you received value from the $20 million referral program and all that we share, share with a friend, or please just keep us in mind if you come across any agents or individuals looking for something new or different. We'd love to have a conversation with them, and we love your referrals. So thank you so much for joining today. Great to see you all, and looking forward to having you with us next month when we talk about everything we're preparing for October. And go out there and be the agent everyone loves to hire and refer.